And welcome back everyone to part 3 of lesson 3 metal component. In this tutorial we are going to be adding line weights, so adding thickness to the different line types we have. We're going to be adding a title block to our drawing, to our sheet of paper that tells everybody who drew it and what day. And we're also going to set up the printer settings so we can print out our work. Alright, so let's get started. The first step we're going to do is we're going to go to do the line weights. So we're going to add thicknesses to the lines. So right now we have 3 different types of lines and they're on 3 different layers. So we also can edit the weight of the line on that layer. So let's go to Format, Layer, and we see here that we have all these different layers: 0, center, construction line, and def points. Def points is a layer that always comes with a file. It just is created with the file, and if you scroll all the way to the right, you can see that it doesn't print. So anything that we don't want to print, we can put on that layer, and all the other layers print. So our drawing is on the 0 layer, so that's white, and we're going to make that line weight 0.25 millimeters. The center line type is red, and we're going to make that 0.09 millimeters. We're going to make it very thin and very faint. And the same with the construction line. We're going to make it 0.09 millimeters. We're going to make it very faint. Alright, and hit OK. So there's no changes to the drawing after you set the line weights. The line weights are really something that you see when you print the drawing. And when you are working at an architectural firm or in an engineering firm, the process of picking the size of the line weights is something that you do through trial and error, and you print it out and you see if it looks good and you edit it and you print it again, and the process continues. But I've chosen those line weights because I think they're going to look good when you print. Okay, so the next step is we're going to be setting up our title block. So let's go to, right now we're in the model space, and next to the model tab is the sheet 1 tab. So let's click on that. And so this is the default view. The first thing I want to do is to show you that this is paper, what I call paper space, or the sheet layout view. And the white thing is obviously the piece of paper that we're printing on. The dotted line, I believe, is, you know what, I don't really know what this dotted line is. I think it's some kind of printing margin, or I don't really know what it is. And this thing in the middle that surrounds our drawing is called a viewport. Right? So if you click on it, it will look like that, and you hit escape. To deselect, you can hit escape. So like, say if I accidentally clicked on this and I don't want to click on it anymore, and I don't want to have it selected, you can hit escape. That's how you kind of select and deselect the viewport. So I want to set the viewport, I want to make the scale of this viewport 1:1. Our drawing looks a little small right now, so I want to make sure that whatever I have drawn, 1 inch on my drawing is going to equal 1 inch in real life. That means we're going to be printing out a life-size drawing of the part that we're going to make. Okay, so in order to set the scale to 1:1, we're going to select our viewport, and we're going to go to the Properties window. And if you don't have the Properties window open, you're going to go to Window, Palettes, and then Properties. Alright, so when you select this object, when you select the viewport, you can change the options of the viewport in the Property window. So I want to change, first of all, I don't want this box that surrounds my drawing to print. Right now it's on layer 0, which is going to be my object line. I want the stuff in the box to print, but I don't want this line to print. So I'm going to select the viewport and I'm going to go to the layer section under general and I'm going to click def points. Okay, and then deselect. So now when you select it again, it should be on def points. Alright, the next thing I want to change is I want to change the scale. So I want to change the scale of the drawing, which is right here, annotation scale. And it's saying that it's 1:1 right now, but I know that's not true because it's not, it hasn't been set yet. It might have been like, anytime you like just come to this page, it's always 1:1. So what I do is I set it to a different one, 1:5, and then I set it back to 1:1. So now I know it's 1:1. So you always have to make sure, even though it says 1:1, it might not necessarily be true. So click away to a different scale, and then click back to 1:1. So I noticed that now my drawing is chopped off by this viewport, so I need to expand my viewport. So I'm going to click on the viewport, I'm going to click on a corner, and then you just move it to a new position. I'm going to kind of line it up to this dotted line. Okay. So now you can see my entire drawing. So that's good. Now next let's put in our title block. So in order to put in our title block, we need to download the template from my Google Drive. So let's open up your web browser and we're going to type in the address http://tinyurl.com/ I'm calling it Rogelio 6789 because that's the only thing I could come up with that worked. Alright, so it's going to take you to my Google Drive and let's click the download button on the title block and now it's going to download it into your downloads folder. Alright, so I think that's all we need for that. So going back to our CAD drawing in paper space in sheet 1, we want to import this title block into the drawing. So we're going to hit insert at the top bar right here, insert, and we're going to click on block. And now it's asking us what block do we want to insert. So we're going to hit browse. And I'm going to go to the downloads folder and there's my title block. So I'm going to hit OK, click that, open. And you can basically just hit OK. We don't need to type anything. So now it appears. It appears right here. But if you look in our command window, it's asking us some questions. The first question is type your name here. Okay, so I'm going to type Miss Chang. Next, it's asking for the date. So I'm going to say June 12th, 2017. Type the scale of the drawing here. I'm going to say 1 inch equals 1 inch. And assignment name, this is assignment 3, metal component. Okay, and I hit enter. And now all of the commands are over. Now, if you zoom into your title block, you'll see that the things that you typed are now in here. Okay, let's say you accidentally misspelled your name. If you accidentally misspelled your name, you can double click and then you can change the values here. Alright, hit OK. So we're going to move this title block so that this outer line lines up with our page. So I'm going to select the title block, type the command move, M-O-V-E. I'm going to select it by this upper right hand corner right here. Snap to the corner, and I'm going to zoom in as far as I can to the corner of my paper. It doesn't snap to the paper, unfortunately, but I can get it pretty close. Okay? The next thing I want to do is I want to make my title block on the 0 layer because I want it to have a nice strong line weight like my object. I don't want it to be too light because people need to see my name and stuff. So I'm going to select the title block. So to select it, just click on the very edge and select the title block. And under the properties window for layer, let's put it on 0. Okay, and to deselect, just hit escape. Alright, so now I just want to make sure that our drawing is in the frame of our title block. So the drawing, the highest point of the drawing is right here, and I have some space between the title block space and this part of the drawing. At the bottom though, it's very cramped. You see how like the 5 is really close to that line? I kind of want to center everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move, select the viewport. So don't select the title block, select the viewport. And type the command move. I'm just going to move it up. Yeah, there you go. Alright, so we're having all these weird overlapping lines, like the viewport is not aligning with the margin, but that's okay because our viewport's not being printed anyway. Okay, so sometimes I even just like to make the viewport huge, like this. So then that way, you know that you're selecting the viewport and it's not interfering with the title block. Okay, so this is the viewport. That's the title block. All right, so now we're ready to print. Now there are 2 things we need to do in order to print. Okay, one involves something that you would do in any architecture office, right? Just messing around with the printing settings. And then the second thing we need to do has nothing to do with what you would do in an architectural office. It has something to do with how funky this Kincaid printer is, and I do not know why. So let's first do the funky weird thing that you will never have to do at another office probably. For some reason, if you print it like this, which is how I've always done it, it chops off like half of the drawing. It's really weird. But I messed around with it, and if I move everything, the title block and the viewport up 3/4 of an inch, 0.75 inches, it actually works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to type the move command, and I'm going to say D for displacement, and I'm going to just snap to the vertical, and I'm going to say 0.75. So this is completely funky, crazy, weird stuff. I mean, I don't know why it prints even though it's off the paper, but for some reason at Kincaid, this is how I got the printer to work. Okay? So this is what it should look like. So you can save. Now we're going to set up this thing called, what is it called? It's called It's called a print style. Because if you just printed it like this, the line weights wouldn't show up. We need to tell the printer, hey, use the line weights that I assigned. So in order to do that, we're gonna go into the printing settings. So do Command P, okay. Set your printer to US Kilroy BW HP. And this is kind of, right here is a preview of your drawing. And everything looks like it's showing up. It's also showing like the line of my title block, but I'm pretty sure that's not going to print because I tried that before. So everything looks pretty good. Now under paper size, we're going to click down. We want to change the print style. So select print styles. And under print style table, click monochrome CTB. Monochrome CTB is basically, we're telling the printer, it's basically like a set of pens. We're telling the printer, use these set of pens. You make sure that you're printing the thicknesses. You know, we're giving the printer a bunch of pens with thicknesses. So select monochrome CTB. You're probably going to use that a lot if you go to another architecture office. Okay, and that's the only thing we need to change. And we want to save this preset so in the future we don't have to do this again. So let's click under presets, let's click this arrow. Let's say save current settings as preset and select all printers. And for the name, we're going to type monochrome CTB. Or you can just say monochrome, whatever. And hit OK. Alright, and we are there. Now we can print, and you're going to see your beautiful line weights and all of your hard work in person. So hit print. And that concludes this tutorial.